Alright guys, welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. I need to find Lemmy Chillmeister at the house. That was my co-host, if you guys remember. So, I had a couple days off, just do a little update. 3 days off because my job only works me 4 days a week, so that blows. I actually had some fun on my days off, though. It was almost like a little mini vacation. It felt good. First day was kind of rainy. We didn't really do much. Second day off I had, we went to a park called Wellington Park. Beautiful park. It's got like little meadows, some art stuff. Maybe if I feel like I have the time and I feel like I want to, I might make like a little slideshow with some music, show you the photos that I took. Because I need to start putting out more content, like even if it ain't a podcast, like just random stuff like that. People enjoy it, and me and my wife, we do a lot of traveling and stuff. So I did that yesterday. I had a couple errands to run. I'm trying to pick up a second job, which is what we're going to kind of get into today. Actually here at Steak and Shake, which is next door to where I work now. They're hiring $15 an hour. I want to get like a couple days here and there. So I filled out an app, dropped it off. I ain't going to lie, I got a little pissed off, dude. So I might not be able to get this job. So I dropped off the I picked up the application, and when I went to bartending school, Lexington bartending school, my teacher, Brent Monzingo, he told me basically something that my parents had never told me, that when you go in to apply somewhere, don't just pick up an application, because this Steak and Shake has paper apps. So I prefer paper apps. I feel like people actually read them and check them out rather than online applications. So he said, whenever you pick up a paper app, don't just pick it up. Ask for the hiring manager, and if they're not there, ask for a manager in general. So I did that. And they said, oh, just grab a cup and just chill. He'll come out to you in a second. And the guy comes out with a headset and he goes, just drop it off. Just drop it off. So I go, okay. So I just walk back to the car. I go home, fill it out, and my wife gets off work at 4. So I'm like, hey, there's photos that we need to pick up from Walmart from the Wellington Park. I took some photos and shit. And I was like, hey, while we're out, let's drop off my application to Steak and Shake. So I go in there to drop off the app on the way to Walmart. And I was like, hey, can I just talk to the manager? And they're like, yeah. It's the same fucking dude with the headset. And he goes, just drop it off. Just drop it off. And I ain't going to lie, I kind of lost my temper a little bit. I didn't yell or anything, but I did speak kind of loudly to my wife. I'm like, this is the second time today this motherfucker's done this shit. So I don't know if he heard me. I don't know, man. The older I've gotten, dude, I just put up with less bullshit. And the thing is, like, I already have a job. I technically don't need another job, but I want another job so I can stack my chips back to where they were. Because it kind of ties in with what I want to finish today, is talking about my story about Kroger getting fired / quitting. So we had left off, basically, hang on just a second. So we had left off, basically, me and Watts getting into it, Diane Watts and Gus, and go watch part 1 if you haven't, being a little dick in the office, doing that devil smile shit. So I was discouraged. I left, and I was bitching to my wife. I'm like, it just pisses me off that they're allowed to cuss us out. I said, and first of all, I didn't cuss her out. I was just cussing in general. If you guys listen to this podcast, you know that I'm very fickle about the human language. To me, cussing you out would be like, oh, you're a fucking piece of shit, But cussing in general is not cussing you out. And I said, why are they allowed to cuss in general, but I'm not, you know? And I was just venting to her, and I just went home. And I'm like, I'm not going into work tonight. And I get a text message from my buddy Jacob. He's awesome. Jacob's a cool-ass motherfucker. And he actually works or lives with David, who was the manager at the time. So David, I've had trouble with David before. Me and him got in a cussing match. And from that day forward, he never liked me. And David was drama. And I'll give you an example of what type of dude he was. Basically, like, this happened multiple times, like 3 or 4 times. And I would tell other coworkers about it. I'm like, dude, David loves drama. He's like, sorry, not trying to be sexist, but he's like a woman. Like, he loves gossip. He loves drama. Like, I was friends with like pretty much all my coworkers, you know, like actual friends. Like, even off the clock, I would text them, talk to them, try to hang out with them and shit. So I was tight with these people. Like, a coworker would call in, and I would be like, and this isn't me being nosy. I would just be like, hey, I'd talk to David. I'd be like, is everything okay? Are they okay? Are they all right? And he'd go, oh, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So then the next day, this person would come in, and I'm like, hey, bro, is everything okay? And they're like, yeah, why? I'm like, well, I talked to David. He said he doesn't know what was going on. I was worried about you. I just making sure it wasn't like a death or someone's hurt, or I was just making sure you're okay. And they're like, yeah, I just had like such and such. Like, David knew. I told him. So that's when I kind of figured out, I'm like, oh, this guy just likes drama. So Jacob texted me, and he's like, hey, are you coming in tonight? I said, no. I said, I'm taking a day off. And he said, oh, okay, I understand that. Are you coming in tomorrow? I said, I guess. And he said, well, I talked to David. Come in tomorrow. You still have your job. Everything's cool. So I told my wife, I'm like, I'm taking today off. I said, I still got my job. Everything's cool. I'm coming in tomorrow. And she's like, awesome. So I was like, cool. I didn't lose my job, you know, over all this bullshit. I kid you not, an hour later, I get a text from Jacob again. He says, don't come in tomorrow night. You're going to get fired. I said, I thought everything was cool. So he calls me. He's like, dude, I thought everything was cool. He said, David told me, don't come in tomorrow night. You're going to get fired. So there's a part of me that has suspicions that David either knew that I was going to get fired and told me to come in, or I wasn't actually getting fired, but because David didn't like me, because we had a cussing match like a year before. Which, by the way, how petty is that? Like, the next day I even texted him. I said, look, everything we argued about, I said, I still stand by, but I shouldn't have been cussing and yelling and shit. I'm the type, I let shit build up for years, and then finally one day I just snap. And that's what I did, you know? It's not a good thing. It's something I have to work on, because I'm like passive aggressive. So I just let shit build up and build up and build up, and then one day I just snap and just go off. But I think that David was playing his little games. So essentially, I never got fired from Kroger because I was given the heads up, thankfully, by a buddy, Jacob, who was cool as fuck. So I got the heads up. I didn't go in. I technically quit Kroger. And it worked out good, because anytime you get a new job, like where I'm working now, Clark's, they always ask you, like, what happened with your old job? And I actually got to be the good guy in it, of like, yeah, my boss came in drunk and started cussing me out. And I told her, the hiring manager, everything that he said. And she felt bad for me. She's like, no, I get it. I don't blame you for walking out and quitting. So yeah, I ended up getting another job. My work record's still good. Like, worked out in my favor. So I'm eternally thankful for Jacob giving me that heads up, dude. Because they were just, how much of a dick move is that? Like, oh, come on in, you still got your job, and it's a setup, dude. Like, it's a fucking setup. I was like, yeah, so Brennan Cross and Kroger, go leave a review if you want. They fucking blow. And you know me, normally I don't tell people to do that shit, but yeah, Diane Watts sucks. Brennan Cross and Kroger sucks. Leave a horrible review if you want. They fucking blow. Don't ever get a job there if you live in Nicholasville, Kentucky. But yeah, dude, so I started this job at Clark's. And it's a good job. I do love where I work. Everything's cool, everybody's tight. Everybody's nice. It's an easy job. I do cashier. I'm also a chicken cook again, like I used to at KFC. Everything started looking up. The only thing that bummed me out is when I first got hired on here, they were working me 3 days a week and then 4 days a week, 3 days a week and then 4 days a week. And I'm a workaholic, and I also love my money. I don't love money because loving money is evil, you know. The love of money is evil. I think that's what the Bible says or something. But I like having money, and I like being able to spend money. If I see a video game I want, I like to be able to fucking buy it. If I want to go out and take my wife out to dinner, I would like to be able to afford it and not have to worry about, oh, I got bills. And I like working, especially because, you know, I ain't got the best health, and I'm not a young spring chicken, but I mean, I'm healthy enough. I have plenty of energy. I'm younger, on the younger side, so like I need to work while I can, you know. There's gonna come a day when I get old and gray that I can't fucking work like I used to. So life started looking up again, and I started feeling good. I was like, man, I need to get back into podcasting, because I ain't gonna lie, dude. I went through a dark phase after the Kroger shit. So I was at home unemployed. I was still job hunting, but I was drinking a lot. Like, I would pretty much get up out of bed and just crack open a beer and start drinking basically from sun up till sundown. Every day. And so that was not good. And by the way, dude, it is so fucking hard to find a job. So it took me a minute, and everyone was giving me the runaround of like, hey, come in for an interview. And here's the thing, I would shave, I would take a bath, I'd wear cologne. I wasn't going to these interviews drunk. I would clean up real nice and speak like a gentleman, act like a gentleman. So like multiple places were giving me interviews, and then they'd be like, we'll get back with you in 3 or 4 days. And they never would. And it wasn't just me that was having this problem, dude. This is how I know that our phones and smart TVs listen to us, because all these videos were popping up on YouTube in my algorithm of like people going through the same shit of like job hunting like crazy and getting interviews, and then we'll get back with you, and they never get back with you, like just giving them the runaround. And it's not just me, it's everywhere apparently. And it's fucking annoying because you get your hopes up, you're happy, you're like, yeah, I'm getting a job soon, you know? And I think that's part of being a man, is we have this like built-in natural instinct to work and provide and take care of our family, you know? So I ended up getting the job at Clark's, and life is starting to look better again. And if you remember last episode, I was talking about things come in threes. So I'm going to be real careful on how I explain this next part of the story. For one, it's none of your business. Two, I always believe that you're innocent until proven guilty. So I get woke up one day, and I have to work that night. And I felt like life was getting better. Everything was getting better. And my mother-in-law comes into the room and she goes, "Hey, the cops are here. And they're looking for you." And I said, "What the fuck?" So, first thing that pops into my head is, oh shit, I said something on a podcast that I shouldn't have said. That's where my mind went, you know? So I'm like, what the fuck? And I'll keep it short, but basically it was a cop and they asked to talk to me outside. I'm being accused of something that I didn't fucking do, and I'm being investigated, which I didn't do it, so there's no fucking evidence. So that, I mean, they're not gonna find anything. But it was for like something I supposedly, allegedly did like 6 fucking years ago. I'm not gonna go into too much detail just because I didn't do it. But I know how evil YouTube can be, and I know someone could probably use this and be like, like, oh, Abe Williams is exposed, and you can come to your own conclusions of what it is. I don't care, but my thing is, I know I didn't do it, and I know I'm going to get off scot-free because I didn't do it, even if I am being investigated. So there's no point in me bringing it up and ruining my reputation of my content. So basically, I went back inside, dude, and my brain fucking broke. Because what I'm being accused of is like bad enough to where I could do prison time. And it broke my brain. And I quit Clark's. I told my boss everything that was going on. She understood. I just quit. I was like, dude, I can't handle this. So I went through a dark phase for about 2 months of just literally getting up every day and drinking beer all day long. My brain had broke. I slipped into psychosis. I had to go to a mental institution twice. I have no health insurance, so I can't wait for those bills to come in. I'm paying one off right now. Of literally, I went to St. Joseph's. By the way, they fucking suck, because I went there because the cops showed up one night. I was going through psychosis. I don't know if you've ever went through psychosis, but it's literally like temporary insanity. Like, it was bad. And I kept telling my wife, I kept telling my mother-in-law, I was like, dude, something is wrong with me. Like, I felt like after the cops had talked to me that day, when I went back inside, I literally felt my brain fucking break. And if you've been through psychosis, you know the feeling of just like, oh, we're in Wonderland now. We're no longer in reality, Because it was just heavy, dude. And life was getting better. It just was like, it crushed me. Yeah, so St. Joseph's, like, that night was basically, the cops had showed up because I was acting like a maniac, dude. And they said, it's either you go to jail or you go to this hospital. I said, okay. So I went to this hospital. They left when I got to the hospital. I did all the paperwork and just was like, no, I don't want to be seen. So they charged me like $300 just to fill out paperwork, sit in the lobby. And I waited for my wife to come pick me up. The cops showed up at the same fucking time. And I'm like, fuck. And they're like, well, now you're going to Eastern State, which is like a mental hospital. So I went to Eastern State, had to stay there for a night. It was a mess, dude. And that is honestly why I took a break. I had friends, and I love my friends to death, but I had friends like, dude, you need to get back into podcasting. We miss you. And I'm like, I can't. Because when I podcast, I try to have a clear mind. I try to be somewhat sane. I'm always a little kooky, but I try to be somewhat sane. I don't want to just put out shit and garbage, you know. And it was crazy. The night before I went to Eastern State to the mental hospital, I'd actually done an interview with my buddy, and I was already in the grips of psychosis then. And God, I mean, I love him to death. I hope he doesn't put it out. I would like to just do another interview with him and do it proper, because I even told him when I came out of the Eastern State, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry if I seemed off during our interview. I was like, I literally had psychosis. I went to the mental institution that very fucking night. Dude, I was saying off the wall shit, like crazy shit, like Jesus is my fucking dad. Like, I love him to death. I hope he doesn't put it out. I mean, if he does, he does, you know. I'd like to do a proper interview where I'm sane now, you know. And I mean, I could show you the paperwork. They literally said, yeah, this dude's got psychosis, you know. And I had had psychosis like twice in the past. Once was through a divorce, and the other time was I was hooked on cough medicine, you know, and my parents were getting a divorce. It was just a rough time, man. When life gets too overwhelming and too crazy, I kind of slip into psychosis, and drugs and alcohol do not fucking help, especially when you are drinking from sun up till sundown all day, every day. So life gets a little better, and I talked to my boss at Clark's, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry I quit. Is there any way I can come back? And she's like, give it a month. And hey, I was cool with it. So I had a month off, and I was still job hunting, trying to get another job. And finally, dude, no, same thing. Run around. Come here for an interview. One day, and I got to the point, I just started praying to God. I said, God, put me where you want me to be. Wherever I'm supposed to be, put me there. So one day, my wife, they opened up a new Publix, which is a Florida company. They opened up a Publix here in Kentucky. And they're offering like $16 an hour. I went to an interview at this fancy ass hotel owned by Hilton. It was like a job fair almost. I went there, and I was talking to the guy, and he's like, it was an awesome conversation. He's like, what do you want to get paid, you know? And I was like, hey, I said I was making $14.25 at my old job. I said, pay me at least $14.50. And he was so fucking cool, dude. He goes, nah, homie. And I said, what? And he says, you got to reach for the stars, baby. Like, let's ask 16. I said, okay, yeah, yes, sir. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. He's like, yeah, dude, you got to reach for the stars, man. All they can do is say no. And he was like high up management. He's like, yeah, we're going to pay you 16, bro. And I told him, I was like, dude, I worked for Kroger. So I have experience. I said, but I'm not doing third shift stocking again. And he said, okay. He said, what do you want to do? I said, I will do anything but that. And I'm a jack of all trades. I said, you can look at my resume, dude. I can be a cook, floral, quick list, wherever you want me, cashier. I said, I'm a fast cashier. That's where I really want to be, is cashier. So I did that interview with Publix, and I have to go back the next week. So I decide I'm going to detox from alcohol. Dude, I've went through multiple detoxes before, and where I was drinking from sun up till sundown every single day, dude, this was a wicked fucking detox for 3 fucking days, just shaky, hallucinating. I was having auditory hallucinations. Literally, I would just sit in bed, freezing, sweating, and I stank, dude. I don't know if you guys have ever been through alcohol detox, but you literally smell horrible. Your breath, your pores. I was just pouring sweat, dude. I'd wake up in like puddles. Just hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold for 3 fucking days. Puking up nothing. You're dry heaving, you know. You're just pouring all of it out of you, dude. So I went through detox before next week, before I went to go to the store. He wanted me to go up to the new location. So the day comes. I told my wife, she's got GPS in her car. My car's a clunker. You guys already know what I ride in. White Rabbit. It's a 97 Pontiac. I can't hook GPS in here. My cigarette lighter don't work. Half the shit don't work on this car. I tell my wife I need your car tomorrow to go up to Publix. They want me to go in, talk to management, tell them I got the job. I just need to know what the next step is. So she's like, okay. So she's like, I already got it pre-programmed where you need to be in the GPS. All you have to do is turn it on and hit go. So I said, okay, cool. I'm all set. I get up bright and early, drink some coffee. I'm completely sober. I detoxed. Felt amazing. I feel like a brand new man. She typed in drive instead of road. So I drive for 2 hours out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Out in the middle of the country. And I was on my way there. I'm like, dude, if it is this far out, I am not even taking this job. I get to the location. It's literally out in the middle of fucking nowhere. I call her up. I said, dude, I asked you twice this morning. Are you sure it's drive? And she said, yeah. I said, it's supposed to be road, ain't it? I said, I asked you twice. She said, yeah. So honestly, I was like, I'm not mad. I said, I've already been praying to God. I said, this is not where I'm supposed to be. So on the way back home, a month had passed since I had last talked to my boss about getting my job back at Clark's, I texted her. I said, hey, I'm checking back in. Can I please have my job back? And we go back and forth. She's like, are you going to bail on me again? I said, no, I should be good. She's like, okay, I got your job back, So I got my job back at Clark's. It's better now because I'm working 4 days a week every week now. So that's better than the last time I worked here. I'll be making more money because I'm in kitchen most of the time. And I told her, I had a heart-to-heart with her. I told her, I said, dude, if I wouldn't have quit, I said I would have ended up being fired because I went through psychosis. I wouldn't have been performing good at work. I needed to get it out of my system, man. And in a weird way, I told my wife the same shit of like, hey, I'm not trying to like give an excuse for myself, but I said, in a weird way, I needed to sit here and drink for 2 months and just deal with this shit mentally for 2 months of losing my job, losing my old apartment, having this investigation go on to where I could get thrown in prison, like I needed to deal with that. And I said drinking was part of it. I needed to get that out of my system of like 2 months of just fucking pounding them down. Just get it out. Get the rage out, get the tears out, get the insanity out, go through the psychosis, go through the actual fucking detox. I needed to get it out of my system. My brain had broke, but I feel better now. Life is looking up. I'm happy. I got my job back. I'm looking for a second job. I'm talking to a buddy right now who runs a cabinet shop in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, and I told him, I'm like, dude, I need like 2 shifts a week so I can stack my chips again. And it's good money. I'll be putting together cabinets. Still going to be a chicken cook and cashier at the gas station. I'm just ready to work and podcast again. So, that's where I'm at. Life is getting better. It really is. It's getting better. And I needed to go through that. I don't know if anyone understands that. Maybe someone in the comments section will hit me up and be like, yeah, I know the feeling of just, I need to hit rock bottom. And in Alcoholics Anonymous, they tell you that. Like, you're not going to learn your lesson until you hit rock bottom. And I needed to hit rock bottom. I knew I needed to hit rock bottom. Sometimes it's good to hit rock bottom because the only way that life is going to get better when you're already at rock bottom and you're at the very fucking bottom, the only other place is to go up. once you've lost everything and you're at rock bottom, the only thing you can do is go up from that point. Life will get better. It can't get worse. It's already the worst it is. It can't get worse than worse. So, I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. That's where I've been, and I'm ready to start podcasting again. I'm getting back into conspiracy. So, because I ain't gonna lie, when I was going through all that shit, man, I needed to, I kind of blue-pilled a lot, man. I needed to take a break from conspiracy because I was like, dude, I'm already going through psychosis. I don't need to hear about how they're turning the freaking frogs gay. I need to chill and enjoy life. So there will be more episodes coming, more conspiracy episodes. There is going to be some changes in the channel, and I hope you guys enjoy. Like, I have 2 podcasts. You know that. I have Blue Pill Podcast and Conspiracy Corner Podcast. There are going to be more Blue Pill Podcast episodes. Before my break, you guys already started seeing I started doing more Blue Pill Podcast episodes. I'm going to be telling, like, kind of life stories, but I'm also going to be doing, like, some old retro game review podcast. So, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. There's still going to be conspiracy, so still keep tuning in. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of retro gaming, so I'm going to actually start doing video game reviews. I hope that's what you're into. If not, like I said, we're still going to do conspiracy. So I love y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 500 subscribers on YouTube. Please subscribe and share it. Please. I'm trying to get up to 500, dude. But y'all have a good day.